Are you propping up an idol in your mind today? If so, this is going to challenge you, I promise you. Welcome to the Daily Devo. I am Vince Miller. This week we are reading through 1 Samuel chapter 5. I've titled this chapter, Clearing the Path to Glory. So yesterday we discovered that the Philistines captured the Ark of the Covenant, took it back to Ashdod, setting it up in the temple of Dagon. The following day, the people awake to find that Dagon has fallen prostrate or is bowing before the ark. Despite their shock, they propped him back up. And then they discovered this in verses 3 through 4. So they took Dagon and put him back in his place. But when they rose early on the next morning, behold, Dagon had fallen face downward on the ground before the ark of the Lord. Obviously, again. And the head of Dagon and both his hands were lying cut off on the threshing floor. Only the trunk of Dagon was left to him. So this is a fascinating moment. The same mysterious event occurs overnight, but this time Dagon's head and hands are chopped off. This kind of picture of what happens plays in my mind of maybe two deities battling it up on the threshing floor. God takes out a sword and then chops off Dagon's head and hands. At least that's how I imagine it in my mind. Now, I know that in our time and in our country, we don't prop up idols in the same way that they did. Our idols are not necessarily man-made objects of stone and wood, but they are just as consuming. More often than not, our idols are the ideologies we prop up in our minds. We prop up ideas and beliefs and pursuits that consume our thoughts, time, and energy. Eventually, these propped up idols establish strongholds of worship within our minds. That's what we're doing in our minds. We're worshiping ideas. Eventually, the pursuit of things like wealth and success and titles and fame become our primary focus in everything that we think and talk about. Possessions, achievements, conquests dominate every conversation. Consequently, we become enslaved to our idolatrous ideologies and now our need for approval, validation, and acceptance from others because of them. So we mold our lives and our identities around these propped up ideas until finally they are abandoned on the threshing floor with their head and their hands lopped off. You see, this is the hard-learned lesson of propped up idols. If we have propped up an idol in our minds for too long, challenging that idol will require us to rethink everything. When they fall, we are prone to prop them up because we have become accustomed to them. Dealing with them is too much work when we have constructed our lives based upon them. Only when the idol is fallen and cut down and chopped up do we face the fact that we can no longer prop them up and we have to rethink the idols that we have made in our minds. Well, I think this is what the people of Ashdod were probably thinking to themselves. Who is this God? And what are we going to do with this God now that he has slaughtered Dagon? What are we going to do? So let's get really practical today. What idol do you need to stop propping up in your life today? What idol stands between you and God? Tracing it back should be very, very easy. Because you see, you talk about it a lot. You think about it all the time. If you lost it, you would lose yourself. So my question to you again is, what is it? Can you name it? If you know it, remember, you can't just merely stop propping it up. You need to cut off its head and its hands and come to the Lord, who stands victorious over every idol. I love you guys. I pray this has blessed you. If it has, share it with someone else, and I will see you right back here again tomorrow.